Welcome to News Hour by DLC, your one-stop destination for the latest and most impactful updates from the legal world. From landmark rulings to policy shifts shaping the justice system, DLC brings you in-depth coverage, expert insights, and analysis that matter. Stay informed, stay ahead because in law, every verdict counts. Today is 10th February 2025 and we bring you news that matters. The first news for today is as follows. Supreme Court clarifies director liability in check dishonor cases. The Supreme Court has provided significant clarification regarding the liability of company directors under Section 141 of the Negotiable Instruments Act, 1881. In cases of check dishonor, the court emphasized that for a director to be held vicariously liable, it must be explicitly stated in the complaint that the individual was both in charge of and responsible to the company for the conduct of its business at the time the offense occurred. These are distinct requirements, and both must be satisfied for liability to be established. This ruling underscores the necessity for precise allegations in complaints to establish the culpability of directors in check dishonor cases. The court's decision aims to ensure that only those directors who have a direct role in the company's business operations are held accountable under the Act. Next news. Supreme Court halts trial of mid Congress MLA amid witness intimidation allegation. The Supreme Court has stayed the trial of mid Congress MLA Rajendra Bharti in a cheating case following allegations that defense witnesses were being pressured. A bench comprising Justices Abhay S. Oka and Ujjal Bhuyan expressed dissatisfaction with the state's evasive responses regarding inquiries into these intimidation claims. The court emphasized the state's duty to ensure a fair trial, and criticized the additional advocate general for acting as a mouthpiece for the state rather than as an officer or the court. Senior advocate Kapil Sibal, representing Bharti, presented affidavits from witnesses alleging coercion. The state denied these allegations but failed to provide evidence of any investigation into the claims. The Supreme Court has stayed the trial and directed the state to submit a detailed affidavit addressing the issues raised. Next news. Supreme Court acquits death row inmate, citing faulty investigation. The Supreme Court has overturned the conviction of a man previously sentenced to death for the alleged murder of 6 family members, including his 4 children and brother Inod. The court identified significant flaws in the investigation and evidence collection by the Oud police leading to the acquittal. A bench comprising Justices Vikram Nath, Sanjay Karol, and Sandeep Mehta highlighted that prosecution failed to establish key incriminating factors, such as motive, the accused being last seen with the victims, and the recovery of weapons. The judgment, authored by Justice Mehta, criticized the lackadaisical approach of the investigating agency and the prosecution, noting the absence of efforts to gather proper evidence or examine independent witnesses near the crime scene. The court emphasized that the fabric of the prosecution's case was full of holes, and that the investigation into the gruesome murders was conducted in a most casual and negligent manner. This ruling underscores the necessity for thorough and diligent investigations, especially in cases involving severe penalties such as the death sentence. Next news. Supreme Court clarifies first offense definition for compounding under Income Tax Act. The Supreme Court has provided clarity on the definition of first offense under the Income Tax Act's compounding guidelines. The court ruled that offenses committed before the issuance of a show cause notice are considered first offenses and are thus eligible for compounding. This decision overturns a previous Gujarat High Court judgment that had denied an assessee's compounding application for the assessment year 2013 to 2014 on the grounds that it was not a first offense. The case involved an assessee who filed delayed income tax returns for the assessment years 2011 to 2012 and 2013 to 2014. For the 2011 to 2012 assessment year, the return was filed on the 4th of March 2013 past the due date of the 30th of September 2011. A show cause notice for prosecution under Section 276cc of the Income Tax Act was issued on the 27th of October 2014. The assessee applied for compounding under the 2008 guidelines, and the application was accepted on the 11th of November 2014. For the 2013 to 2014 assessment year, the return was filed on the 29th of November 2014, after the due date of the 31st of October 2013. A prosecution notice was issued on the 12th of March 2015. The assessee's subsequent compounding application was rejected in 2017, with authorities stating that only first offenses are compoundable under the 2014 guidelines. The Supreme Court's recent judgment emphasizes that an offense committed before the issuance or show cause notice qualifies as a first offense under the compounding guidelines, making it eligible for compounding. This ruling provides important clarification for taxpayers and authorities regarding the compounding of offenses under the Income Tax Act. Next news: Supreme Court regularizes services of 18 ODE lecturers, orders CVC probe into illegal appointments. The Supreme Court has invoked its powers under Article 142 of the Constitution to regularize the services of 18 ad hoc lecturers at the Motilal Nehru Government Polytechnic College, in ODE. The bench, comprising Justices Dipankar Datta and Manmohan, directed the Union Territory government to regularize these lecturers without involving the Union Public Service Commission (UPSC). The court expressed concern over the very sorry state of affairs in ODE, noting that out of 51 sanctioned lecturer positions at the Polytechnic College, 45 were filled by ad hoc appointees. Despite a 2007 Supreme Court order upholding the regularization of 15 such lecturers, the UPSC had refused to comply, citing the illegality of the appointments. The court criticized this stance as audacious, emphasizing the need to uphold its previous directives. In addition to ordering the regularization, the Supreme Court has mandated a Central Vigilance Commission (CVC) inquiry into the illegal appointments of ad hoc lecturers in ODE. The court has instructed the CVC to submit a report within 6 months, aiming to address and rectify the irregularities in the appointment process. This decision underscores the Supreme Court's commitment to ensure compliance with its orders and addressing administrative lapses in public institutions. Next news: Supreme Court emphasizes adherence to natural justice in land acquisition cases. The Supreme Court has underscored the critical importance of upholding natural justice principles in land acquisition proceedings. In a recent judgment, the court quashed acquisition actions initiated by a development authority, highlighting procedural lapses that compromised the rights of the affected parties. The case centered on a preliminary notification issued by the Authority for Land Acquisition. Notably, the final notification excluded certain areas from acquisition. Challenging this, the appellant's father approached the High Court, seeking similar exclusion for their adjoining land. The appellant's subsequent application to the authority was rejected, leading to a writ petition. While a single judge bench granted relief, a division bench later reversed this decision. The division bench relied on an affidavit from the authority submitted on the same day, without providing the appellant an opportunity to respond. A bench comprising Justices B.R. Gavai and K. Vinod Chandran observed that the High Court's reliance on the authority's affidavit, without granting the appellant a chance to address its contents, violated natural justice principles. The Supreme Court emphasized that such procedural oversights undermine the fairness of judicial proceedings and the rights of individuals affected by land acquisitions. This ruling reinforces the judiciary's commitment to ensuring that authorities adhere strictly to procedural fairness, especially in matters involving the expropriation of private land for public purposes. Next news: Supreme Court rules non-payment of authorization fee within registered state does not invalidate national permit. The Supreme Court has ruled that the non-payment of an authorization fee for a state permit does not invalidate a vehicle's national permit, provided the vehicle remains within its registered state. Consequently, insurance companies cannot deny claims solely on the grounds of such non-payment when a valid national permit exists. The case involved a truck registered in Bihar that caught fire due to an electrical short circuit while operating within the state. The insurance company had repudiated the claim, citing the non-renewal of the state permit's authorization fee. A bench comprising Justices B.V. Nagaratna and S.C. Sharma clarified that the authorization fee is required only when the vehicle operates outside its home state. Since the incident occurred within Bihar, the non-payment of the authorization fee did not affect the validity of the national permit. This ruling emphasizes that a national permit remains valid within the registered state, even if the authorization fee for the state permit has not been paid. Insurance companies are therefore not justified in denying claims on this basis when the vehicle is used solely within its home state. Next news: Supreme Court quashes abatement of suicide charges, emphasizes need for direct instigation evidence. The Supreme Court has quashed charges of abatement of suicide under Section 306 of the Indian Penal Code against several individuals, underscoring the necessity for clear evidence or direct or indirect acts of instigation leading to suicide. The case involved allegations that the accused had humiliated and tortured the deceased, blaming her for their son's death, which purportedly led to her suicide. The court observed that to establish an offense under Section 306 IPC, there must be specific evidence of attainment as defined under Section 107 IPC, demonstrating the accused's intention to provoke or incite the victim to commit suicide. The alleged harassment must be of such a nature that it leaves the victim with no alternative but to end their life. The bench comprising Justices Sanjeev Khanna, Sanjay Kumar, and K.V. Vishwanathan noted that the investigation had relied solely on the complainant's statements without exploring other angles, effectively accepting the complainant's version as the absolute truth. The court emphasized that mere allegations of harassment are insufficient to substantiate charges under Section 306 IPC without concrete evidence or instigation or intentional aid to the deceased in committing suicide. This ruling reinforces the principle that for abetment of suicide charges to hold, there must be clear and proximate evidence linking the accused's actions to the victim's decision to end their life. Next news. Md High Court grants bail to rape accused with conditions on electronic evidence. Md High Court has granted anticipatory bail to an engineer accused of rape, imposing specific conditions to aid the ongoing investigation. Justice Devanarayan Mishra directed the accused to surrender all electronic devices, including mobile phones and laptops, along with passwords to his social media accounts, such as Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, to the investigating authorities. Additionally, the accused is required to provide any intimate photographs of the complainant in his possession to both the investigation team and the complainant herself. The case involves allegations that the accused engaged in a consensual relationship with the complainant from 2010 to 2018, during which he allegedly violated her privacy and shared her photographs without consent. The complainant filed a first information report, FIR, on the 10th of December 2024 accusing the engineer of rape under Section 376(2)(n) of the Indian Penal Code. The defense argued that both parties were adults engaged in a consensual relationship and that there had been no contact between them since 2018. The prosecution contended that the accused had violated the complainant's privacy and disseminated her photographs, necessitating custodial interrogation. In granting bail, the court emphasized the importance of the accused's cooperation with the investigation. The judge ordered that all electronic devices be returned to the accused after relevant data extraction by the authorities. This decision underscores the judiciary's effort to balance the rights of the accused with the integrity of the investigative process. Next news. High Court. Execution proceedings not invalidated by non-supply of signed arbitral award. The High Court has ruled that execution proceedings of an arbitral award cannot be quashed solely due to the non-delivery of a signed copy of the award to the concerned party. The court emphasized that if the party is already aware of the award and has the opportunity to challenge it, the absence of a signed copy does not prejudice their rights. This decision aligns with the court's earlier stance in Union or India v. Bhola, Prasad Agrawal and ANR, where it was held that while delivering a signed copy of the arbitral award to each party is essential, the failure to do so does not harm the party if they are already aware of the award and can file an application to set it aside. The ruling underscores the principle that procedural lapses, such as the non-supply of a signed arbitral award, should not impede the enforcement of the award provided the affected party is cognizant of the award and has had the opportunity to contest it within the stipulated time frame. Next news. Md High Court clarifies Tahsildar's role in mutation proceedings. The Ind bench of the Md High Court has ruled that a Tahsildar cannot direct an individual to seek a civil court declaration to establish themselves as the legal representative of a deceased property owner for the purpose of land mutation. Justice Pranay Verma emphasized that it is within the Tahsildar's jurisdiction to assess and confirm genealogical succession of the deceased. The case involved a petitioner who applied for mutation under sections 109 and 110 of the Indian Land Revenue Code, 1959, asserting sole entitlement to a disputed land following death of his brother. Despite public notices and a report from the Halka Patwari indicating no other claimants, the Tehsildar rejected the application, advising the petitioner to obtain a civil court declaration of legal heirship. Justice Verma clarified that the Tehsildar is obligated to determine an applicant's eligibility for mutation, including verifying their status as the legal representative of the deceased, without necessitating a separate civil court declaration. The court stated, there is no requirement for the applicant to seek any declaration from the civil court that he is the legal representative of the deceased. The Tehsildar can very well consider and determine the genealogy between the parties. This ruling underscores the Tehsildar's duty to handle succession matters in mutation proceedings, streamlining the process for rightful claimants. Next news. Gujarat High Court affirms maintainability of joint petitions for annulment and divorce under Hindu Marriage Act. The Gujarat High Court has upheld the permissibility of filing a composite suit seeking both annulment of marriage and divorce under the Hindu Marriage Act, 1955. Justice Sanjeev Jaidakar dismissed a wife's revision plea challenging a family court's decision that rejected her application to dismiss her husband's joint petition for annulment and divorce. The husband had filed a composite suit under sections 12(1) and 13(1) of the Hindu Marriage Act, seeking either a declaration of nullity or dissolution of the marriage on grounds of cruelty. The wife contended that such a composite petition was impermissible and sought its rejection under Order 7 Rule 11 of the Civil Procedure Code. She argued that the petition was time-barred and lacked a valid cause or action. Justice Dakar observed that there is no legal prohibition against filing a joint petition seeking alternative reliefs of annulment and divorce. He noted that disallowing such composite suits could lead to multiplicity of proceedings. The court emphasized that an application under Order 7 Rule 11 CPC should focus solely on the contents of the plaint and accompanying documents, not the defendant's defense. The ruling clarified that while the grounds for annulment would be examined based on evidence, the prayer for divorce would remain viable regardless. This decision underscores the judiciary's recognition of the practicality and legal validity of composite petitions in matrimonial disputes, aiming to streamline legal processes and reduce the burden on the courts. And the final news for today is as follows. Kerala High Court, PSU employees cannot extend service pending government decision on retirement age. The Kerala High Court has ruled that employees of public sector undertakings, PSUs, nearing retirement cannot continue in service beyond the stipulated age until the government formalizes a decision to enhance the retirement age. The division bench comprising Justice Anil K. Narendran and Justice Murali Krishna S. overturned a previous single bench order that had allowed such extensions pending governmental deliberation. The case arose from a single judge's directive permitting PSU employees to remain in their positions beyond the current retirement age of 58. until the government acted upon an expert committee's report evaluating the feasibility of increasing the retirement age to 60. The single judge had also instructed the expert committee to submit its findings within 4 months. Challenging this decision, the state government contended that determining the retirement age is a policy matter. The government argued that employees are subject to the prevailing rules at the time of their retirement and cannot claim benefits based on prospective policy changes. The division bench concurred, stating that employees are bound by existing regulations and cannot anticipate favorable policy decisions. The court emphasized that any change in retirement age depends on the expert committee's study and various socioeconomic considerations which are yet to be finalized. This ruling underscores the principle that until a formal policy amendment is enacted, PSU employees must adhere to the current retirement age regulations. Thanks for listening and consider subscribing to the channel. Well, that's all for today. Keep listening to Legal News by DLC.